everybody. It's Susan, Alyssa, and Phyllis again. We're back. And this time we're going to be chatting with Dr. Ellen Gendler, amazing dermatologist. So we're just waiting for her to log on. Oh, wait, I see it. Oh, I just saw a text from her. Did you see? Oh, sorry. It's always a little tricky getting started. Phyllis, how about a joke?
Oh, thank you. Well, no, we were...
Wine tasting. In all fairness, it was a wine tasting.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Both of them.
But a good tip for anyone who lives in LA, Wally's Santa Monica looked like a good place to meet guys.
Got it? Okay. Hi.
We're talking about pickup places in LA.
Right. It was not why we were there, by the way.
I think they were looking out for me.
Yeah,
I'm a single one.
Exactly.
Alyssa's newly single, so
Exactly.
we were checking it out for her. So
Yes.
anyway,
Nice to meet
this
you.
is Alyssa. This is Phyllis, Ellen
Hey,
Gendler,
Ellen.
the amazing Ellen Gendler. Let me just give a quick introduction here.
Wait, time out. Do I have to share this video or no?
You don't have to do anything. Just talk to us. Answer
Okay.
all of our silly questions. Yeah.
Got it.
We will collaborate with you when we post it. So if you feel you can post it, that's great. Yeah. Thank you.
Good.
Anyway, we're so happy to have you here. I've known Ellen for a long time. Sadly, she's in New York. I'm in LA, but when I was in New York, she was my amazing dermatologist. She's trusted expert and definitely a voice of reason in a world full of skincare noise, very noisy world. She's known for your straightforwardness, I think, science-backed approach to skincare and helping all your patients and all of us understand what really works. That's why we're here today. We have lots of questions for you about what the hell we should be doing with our skin after 50. So with that, we have so many questions. I feel like we need to.
I just want to say I do love your Instagram. Your Instagram.
Thank you.
I love how straightforward you are and you say it like it is.
Yeah.
That's what's needed.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to know what the truth, follow Ellen because she tells it like it is.
I'm not sure I want to hear the truth, but I'm not sure I want to hear it. But you seem to be the person, for better or for worse, I want the facts. That's what we want. Seriously, I really mean it.
I think that's a good place to start. So we're all of different ages, ranging here from mid 60s to mid 70s. Our audience is kind of from 50 to 70. Right. And it's really it's gotten so confusing. I would say even more confusing since I started, getting the groove. In terms of there's so many products out there. It seems like there's lots of new products. I also want to talk about your product, which I just literally finished and love. And like, what should we be doing besides putting on sunscreen? We know that, but
Want to say a certain age?
I think
after
50. Yeah, we're talking after 50.
There's a difference between starting something after 50 and continuing something after 50, because obviously your needs are going to be different and your wants will be different. So there's probably not a lot of young people watching here, but the best time to start is when you're younger. But when you get to be 50 years old, you have things to think about, like you're either perimenopausal or you're already in menopause. And so of losing estrogen are going to be dramatic for some people, not for everyone. And I believe that to blame everything on a lack of estrogen is unfair, because there's natural aging that happens to your skin with or without estrogen. Granted, losing estrogen might speed that up, because it does. So replacing estrogen in the form of systemic therapy with your gynecologist, your endocrinologist, is a reasonable idea if you're a good candidate. And some people have limitations to it. But taking systemic estrogen is not going to fix your skin. So using topical estrogen can be a good addition to a skin routine. And you can get that from your gynecologist, and in the form of a vaginal estrogen cream. Some people use the pellets, the estrogen pellets, the little inserts. Right. But if you get an estrogen cream, in the United States, we use estradiol. And that is helpful not only for the vaginal region, because it thickens the epithelium and also helps prevent UTIs as you get older, but you can take a dab of that vaginal cream and stick it under your eyes. Now, it's not meant as a face cream, obviously. It's not formulated with the kinds of things that you like your face cream to have. So I don't tell my patients to smear their vaginal estrogen all over their face, because it's really not very elegant. But putting a little bit under your eyes is a really nice way to try to help maintain the firmness of the under eye skin. And all of us know that the first place on the face that women complain about is their under eye. It's getting crepey. You know, they're in their 30s and they're complaining about it. So that's something that I think is a very good thing to start when you're in your 40s.
Can I just ask you a question, Ellen? Because
Sure.
I just was prescribed face cream of estradiol.
Right. That's
So,
going to tell you
okay.
that. So there are platforms now, online platforms. There's a few of them. There's one called Ally. There's one called Alloy, and I'm a medical advisor to them. Alloy. There's one called MIDI. There's even an acne platform that's called Muesli that's now gotten into the estrogen game. And they make compounded facial creams with estrogen that use estriol, not estradiol. Estriol is a lower strength estrogen than estradiol. But there have been some studies done that show that there's no systemic absorption with either estriol or estradiol when used in limited amounts when applied to the face.
Good to know. Good to know.
Right. So in the United States, estriol is not the form of vaginal estrogen cream that we get. If you live in Europe, they don't use estradiol. They use estriol vaginally. So these companies have made face creams with estriol, and Alloy has made an eye cream, a special eye cream with it at a slightly higher percentage. And I think it's reasonable to get it from those platforms if it's easy and if you don't have the vaginal estrogen from your gynecologist or your endocrinologist or whoever. But you don't want to use too much of it because it's intended to be used in small amounts. And if you're somebody who suffers from melasma, which is pigmentation that you get on your face when you're exposed to the sun or heat, whatever, there are some people that get aggravation of their melasma. So if you are someone who suffers from that, I don't recommend that you use estrogen all over your face without doing some test areas and without being on topical treatment for your melasma before you start it. That's my caveat. Or just use it around your eyes, because I think that's where you see the biggest bang for your buck. Lots of women think their face looks great with their topical estrogen. I stand by my eye recommendation, and I would just use the other. It's fine, but I would use it carefully and not abuse it, not overdo it.
Ellen, is this something that's only available with a
By
prescription?
prescription. Yes.
Okay, just want to be clear about that. It's not,
Yes.
don't go looking for it. And if
Don't go looking for it in the
if you're in Europe, it's not available.
No, it's not. It's prescription everywhere. You can't get it in a French pharmacy, right?
Okay, yeah, no French pharmacy.
You can get creams that claim they have estrogen-like activity. There are things like soy products that say they have estrogenic activity, but they really don't. And there's another product that you can get online that's called Empelle, EMPELLE. And that is a cream that contains something called estradiol methylpropanoate, and it is MEP, which is a compound that's believed to act on the estrogen receptor. It's not an estrogen itself, but the results from that are not nearly the same as they are from true, real estrogen. But you can get that over the counter on sites like, what are those sites you can buy, buy derm things on? I don't even remember the names of all those websites where you can buy derm products in the United States on.
Okay. So that's
derm
good.
store,
yeah.
But yeah.
So what you were talking about is for your eyes, but what about for your basic, skincare for not your eyes?
With estrogen, you mean?
No, just like for anybody over 50, if you're, trying to put together a reasonable routine, like what?
So for me, I think that what I call my non-negotiables, I think everybody over the age of 50, unless there's some pressing reason not to be, should be on some form of retinoid, preferably prescription retinoid, like tretinoin. And that's where all the studies have been done on tretinoin. There are some small studies done on over-the-counter types of retinoids, retinol, retinol palmitate, which does nothing. It's the weakest of the weak. Retinaldehyde. And there's another thing called HPR, or granactive retinoid. And that's called hydroxypinacolone retinoate. And that seems to be the closest thing to prescription tretinoin. It's only one conversion step away from tretinoin. When you use over-the-counter retinol, OL, that's down at the bottom of the totem pole, and it has to be converted in 2 steps to even get to tretinoin. And that explains why it's easier to use retinol or retinal, because you don't get much of the irritation. Some people say you get the same results. I would have to disagree with that. There is nothing like tretinoin.
Can I ask that question about tretinoid? Is it something you have to be careful about being out in the sun if you do
Well,
use
that's the old myth that tretinoin in the sun can make you sunburn. It does thin your epidermis, your superficial, your stratum corneum a little bit, but it actually thickens the epidermis. So you can get a little bit red when you're on tretinoin, but if you use it correctly, you shouldn't have a problem. And I like to believe that everyone who's going the distance and going to start using tretinoin is already careful in the sun. So, sunburn when you have a teenager on Retin-A for acne and they go out on the beach and they're not wearing anything, they get a sunburn. Yes, that can happen, but it doesn't really happen to grown-up women or men who are doing what they're supposed to do. But when you say that you get too irritated from retinoids and you can't use them, it's almost always because you haven't been told how to use them. And so what I tell my patients to do, I'm trying to look for some kind of cream around here, if I can find one, to just sort of demo it. But what you do is you have them put a little pea-sized amount on their finger, and then they take that pea and they go like this, dot, 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 and then they rub it in. So the pea is being distributed. It's so little that you think it can't be right. What many people do is they take a pea, they put it here, and they rub it. And then they take another pea, and they go here. And then they have like 8 peas on their face, and then their face is a scaly mess. And they say, oh, I couldn't tolerate retinoid. It's only because the person who gave it to them, often a doctor, doesn't tell them how to use it. So the only areas that you shouldn't use it are up in the corners here, around here, any crevices. And I say, don't go closer than the bone of your eye. Don't go right up to your eyelid, and don't put it on your eyelids because it'll get much more irritated. And if you use it on your neck, you're going to get irritated too. So the places you should focus are here. And you start out every 3rd night, and you do that for a week or 2 weeks. You make sure you're not really red and scaly. And if that's okay, then you go to every other night. You do that until you can build up to every night. And that it's to be used at night in summer and winter and every season. You don't stop your tretinoin in the summer. I don't know why people do that. Use it all the time.
Can I ask, does it take sunspots away? Does it
nothing takes things away. It
okay.
will remove them.
Does it make them lighter?
No, there's other things to do to take your sunspots away. I can get into that too, but the bottom line is everyone should be using tretinoin. Now there's other things you can use with it. And if you do have sunspots, and if you do have melasma and a background of pigment on your face, then using some sort of brightening cream that has either hydroquinone, if you're okay with using hydroquinone, or arbutin in it, can go on first, and then the tretinoin. And then if you'd like to use a moisturizer, then feel free to use that on top. But let every layer sink in first. That's at night. That's what you would do at night. You don't use tretinoin in the morning. It's once a day, and it's at night.
Ellen, I'm sorry, go ahead. No,
you go. I'm talking.
No. It's just, I'm a little bit of an anomaly here because I'm 76 years old.
Wow.
And I'm like in kindergarten. Like I've not done anything. I really only started using sunscreen on my face because I have a daughter who said, this is insane,
Yeah, exactly.
Don't you have a dermatologist? Do you have a dermatologist?
You know what? Casually I'd go to somebody for something, but I never really got problems with my skin. But now I'm 76 and there's no getting around the fact that I have wrinkles. I've got the wrinkles. I've got this happening, whatever. And I don't know if it's just too late. I mean, just have to live with it at this point. I'm not getting a facelift. That's just a choice I've made.
Well, there's other things you can do. Is it too late? It's never too late. It's never too late. You could learn to surf if you wanted to.
I want to talk to you about that too. I did want to
That'll be our next
No,
call.
but it's never too late. But
Yeah.
obviously, you're not going to get a result that will make you look like your daughter. But you'll definitely see an improvement. And why not? You're 76. You got 30 more years. You might as well make the best of them. So
Thank you.
I fault your dermatologist, because if you go in and see a dermatologist casually and they don't mention the word sunscreen, they should lose their license. That's their job, is to
They
talk about.
probably mentioned it. Okay, they
Yeah,
probably
well,
mentioned it. So no lawsuit happening here. They probably mentioned it. But I have been very recalcitrant about it. I've been very casual about my skin because I really didn't have problems. I never had acne, blah blah blah. And so I never thought much about my skin. And
and you never had a skin cancer or pre-cancer, or you wouldn't know because you haven't
I
gone to be checked.
No,
no, I
yes,
do
she's
get a
got
shake. No,
that.
I had one on my back. This they thought was something. I've got a little scar there, and it
But
wasn't anything.
honestly, if any of you, that the three
Yeah,
of you and anyone listening, if you go to a dermatologist because you're
yeah,
worried about a spot, whether it turns out to be something or not, and that dermatologist doesn't discuss sunscreen with you, then they're not a good dermatologist. I'm
Right.
sorry. Period.
I
The end.
I
So
Totally
agree.
Okay,
agree.
wait, but let's just get back to the plan for
The
1
tretinoin
second.
is
So
their
we just had one question
question.
about the
This is what
tretinoin.
happened to me too.
Somebody said, "What do you do
You
if
have
it gives
eczema.
you eczema?"
Yeah.
if
It
it
gave
gives
me it gave me eczema of like
no,
around
no, well,
my
that's
nose.
exactly what I just said. So, and this
Don't
is the
put it there.
expectation. Right. Don't put it there. So it
Okay,
doesn't give you
that's fine.
eczema.
Okay,
It gave you irritation. That's what it
okay,
gives you.
okay.
Or you
Tretinoid
may be
doesn't
using
give
too
you eczema.
much.
Yeah,
Can it
If
give
probably
it's
too
it
too
much.
can't
much, I told you how to use it.
yeah.
Dot
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
whole
Yes.
face.
yeah.
Don't put it there, and you may get a little flaking at first. Think of it like an exercise routine. If you're sedentary and you went to Barry's boot camp, you're going to be sore. Well,
Right.
when you use it, you get used to it, and then you'll be fine. Yeah.
Or it doesn't give eczema. You've never had anyone
Eczema
have
is a disease.
right.
It's not
Exactly.
dryness from retin-A, from
Okay.
tretinoid. That
Good
causes
good
it
answer.
cause your skin to flake. That's what it
Yeah.
does. It takes off the epidermis. So that's its job,
Got
So
it.
no, it's not eczema, it's dry skin.
Okay,
And you
that's
don't
Good
treat it
that's
with
good
steroids. You
answer.
cut back, you use moisturizer, then you use less.
okay. So once you start using this cream, what do you do next? What else should you
Well,
be
that's what you
using?
do at night. And then in the morning, what I consider my most important non negotiables are really three things in the morning. After you wash your face with basically whatever you want, unless you have issues. And you should use an antioxidant serum, like vitamin C serum. And my preference is to use full L-ascorbic acid, which you can find in 9 million products. And I mention them on my Instagram intermittently. And I don't care because I don't take any money from anyone, but there's so many products ranging in all different price range. The OG is CE Ferulic from SkinCeuticals. It's very expensive, but it's a lovely product, but it's expensive. There are
Mhm.
cheap ones. There's a company called Timeless. There's The Ordinary. There's Drunk Elephant. There's so many inexpensive vitamin C's, and you could use anywhere from 10 to 20% L-ascorbic acid.
Yeah.
And then there are forms of vitamin C that are less irritating than L-ascorbic acid, one called THD. There are so many vitamin C products on the market. So what I say is in the morning, you wash your face and then you apply products from thinnest to thickest, so that makes sense. So you would do usually the vitamin C would be first because it's usually a thin serum.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other type of product that I feel is very important is DNA repair enzymes, which I've spoken to you, Susan, about. Let me
I
let me
use it for
explain to you what those
resistance.
are.
Yeah,
So
Never
this
heard
is
of
a
this.
really cool kind of
Never
product.
heard of it.
this is
Oh,
Cool.
that's the one. Yeah, I'll tell you about that. So DNA repair enzymes are enzymes that come from plants or bacteria. There are three of them that are active on the skin. And what's incredible about them is when you apply them topically to the skin, and ultraviolet B light, that's the sunburn light, hits your face, your skin, or wherever you put them, it actually adjusts the DNA damage that they're doing right then. And these enzymes have been studied in patients with a disease called XP, xeroderma pigmentosum, which is that disease where it's genetic disease where kids can't even go outside. By the time they're 10 years old, they have 500 skin cancers. And these drugs have been studied in those kids, and they reduce the number of non-melanoma skin cancers in those kids and precancers. So to me, we are all basically microcosms of those patients. We all have some inability to repair DNA damage from the sun, which is why you get sunspots and precancers and all those things. So using DNA repair enzymes as part of your skincare is a very smart thing. They come as serums, lotions, creams, and there's a whole bunch of companies that make them. And one company is called Photozyme, one's called Neova, one's called Priori. There's lots of companies that make them. And they go by three names, and I've written about these on my Instagram. One is called plankton extract that comes from algae, and you'll see that on an ingredient list. And that is activated by light. So when you go outside, it's activated and it works. And there's two others. One's called Micrococcus luteus, which comes from a bacteria. And the other is called Arabidopsis thaliana, and it comes from the mustard plant. And those are the three enzymes that you'll see in products. Sometimes you see one, sometimes two, and sometimes all three. There used to be a product on the market that was called Cellular MD, and it was made by a dermatologist in LA who was a love and a good friend of mine, and he and I would volunteer together at the camp for patients with XP. His name was Dr. Ronald Moy, very well-known guy in Beverly Hills. He created a line called Cellular MD, and he made a product that was so beautiful, a serum, different from the other companies. It was so beautiful. And a few years ago, the company folded, and sadly, 5 months ago, Dr. Moy passed away unexpectedly. And I decided that I loved that product so much that I decided to remake something in the same vein. That's a lightweight serum. Susan's holding it. I have.
Wait, Ellen, I just have to tell you that I literally I have to order more because I literally used the last drop.
I'll send you more tomorrow. But
Can you order it on your
so
website?
great.
Yeah.
Can you order it on your website? Yeah.
Because the thing about this and I loved when he had it. And the day that he closed his company, I didn't even know what to do because I like the other company's products and I use them, but this is special. And it's kind of a drippy serum. One thing about the dropper, sometimes it doesn't really drop. So when I use it, I just put it in there and I go like this and there's no problem.
Take a little bit in your hands too.
And if you want, you can even drop this into your moisturizer if you like it. So this is usually my first layer.
Yeah.
Because you can put your thin vitamin C on first and then this. And then if you're someone who wears a moisturizer, if you need it, put it on next and then your sunscreen and makeup. So remember, the rule is thinner to thickest.
Okay. Thin to thick. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Obviously. And then, when you put it on, it feels a little wet. So just wait a second. Wait till it dries down so you know it's on and then put the next product on. That's how you do layering of skincare.
Got it. And then if you're wearing makeup, you can just put it on top of that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you can put that on top. But always wait because even when you're doing sunscreen, when you put sunscreen on your face, you don't even think about what's in it other than the actual sunscreens. But there are ingredients in it that are meant to form a film. They're called film formers. And you put this on your face and it settles in and it settles over your face. If you put your sunscreen on and then it's still wet and then you put your makeup and you've now rubbed your sunscreen off.
Yeah.
There is a kind of camera you can get. Have you ever seen these UV cameras?
You did it to me the first time I came to your office.
In your office. That was like 100 years ago.
It was
your skin damage.
Oh my God. You look like a monster. Yeah.
There's two things you can use that for. And you can actually buy these UV cameras now online. Sell them on Amazon or there's a company called Pavis, Pavise, and they make sunscreen, but they make this really cool sun camera that just plugs into your iPhone at the bottom and it registers and you can look at yourself. Well, wait, but let me tell you the other cool thing about it. Yeah. So it's a woods light. It's a UVA light, like a black light from when you were a teenager and you put on your posters and you see the fluorescence.
Yeah.
So when you shine one of those lights on your face, if you have nothing on but just your skin, you'll see the pigmentation will light up. You'll be able to see it. But they're also useful if you put your sunscreen on and you want to see if you did a good job. put your sunscreen on and then look in the UV camera. You'll be shocked to see where you missed.
What's the
Or
camera
missed.
called? I think we should do this on
Well,
let's.
People are asking
it's
about the camera.
All right, now hold
well,
on. I
you can
Oh,
go
yes.
onto
Sorry.
Amazon and just write for UV ultraviolet light camera for
okay.
phone. And
Okay.
it plugs onto your phone. It's really kind of amazing. But the
That's
one company that makes this really nice one, I have a few of them. I could run inside and get you mine, but you don't need me to do that. They come as mirror. They come as also mirrors. They don't even have to be on your phone. I could run and get it, but you don't want me to go to the
that's
other
fine.
side of
That's
my
fine.
apartment.
Yeah.
But Pavis, P like Paul, PAV like Victor, ISE, which is a sunscreen company, makes a little UV camera that you can just plug into your phone and you can look at it. And so I do that with patients a lot because I'll say to them, "Oh, are you wearing sunscreen?" "Oh yeah, I do it every day." I said, "Oh, let's take a look at
Oh,
the lid." And they put it on. Look, they got 3 big fingerprints here, and so it's really interesting. And I
that's
think it's
really
worth
good.
it for those of you who
Okay.
who are interested in doing that.
I just want to take a little break here. The drops are called Smart Drops. They're available on Ellen's website, which
In
is
my
it
office.
Dr. Ellen? What's her website again?
I think Dr. Gendler Dermatology or Ellen Gendler
Okay, I'll
MD.
put it in, we'll put it in the notes and the link to this because a million people are asking, what is it?
Oh,
Where can I buy it? You can buy it only on Ellen's website. And I
okay.
will tell you, I've used this for the last month. It's amazing. And I also have been using other DNA products and this is really, it's been great. I love
I'm
it.
really excited. I never do this kind of stuff. I
No,
did
no,
it sort
no.
of I love this other product so much, and every time I missed it all the time for my patients. My patients loved it, and I decided to bite the bullet and spend the time to just sort of develop something that was as similar as I could make it to the cellular MD product, and I think it is. Has all
So
3
I
enzymes
have
in
a
it.
question about this because I mean you've made me a DNA believer a long time ago. So I've been using like Nuovo's product for a while, but they have 2 different products. One is regular, one has the I guess is the retinol in it.
I
That
will. I think you should use, if you can, prescription tretinoin. If
okay,
you want an over-the-counter retinol, you could use that, but it's
okay. But
retinol
I
is not
just
tretinoin.
wondering what the difference is. That's all. Like
No, just
why do they
add one
have
more
2?
ingredient in it. That's all.
Okay, okay,
But
okay.
I like these enzymes in the morning, especially because they have plankton in them activated by light. So it's actually doing the work when you're in the ultraviolet light. The other 2 DNA repair enzymes are not activated by light. So they help counteract DNA damage, not only from the sun, but also from other things, pollution, all other things in the environment. And those are nice to even use at night. You can use them as your moisturizer if you want.
So Ellen, some people are asking also this product since it's like so great. Like, can you use it other places, like on
You
your
can,
arms
but
and stuff?
yeah, it's a small
It's not.
bottle, so
I
you
know.
can. But Neova makes a body lotion. They do, but and I don't know. I haven't thought about doing a body lotion, but I guess I could. But because
You
it's a
should think
serum,
about
it's so nice. I have to think about one step at a. I never do this, so this is a thing I really missed. It took a lot of work, effort, and everything to make it. So maybe in the future you can make one with me, Susie.
it. Okay, no, but I mean, because honestly, I feel like, there are definitely these spots that we're all very sensitive to. And obviously, this is one of them,
Yeah.
like
Well,
I feel
you
like,
guys live in California, and the
yeah,
best sunscreen that you could use on your body is
That's what I was
sun
going to ask.
protective clothing. That's the
Oh,
best thing you could
because
do.
I wanted
I
to
mean,
ask
it's
what sunscreen you
impossible.
recommend.
Well,
Yeah,
the
do
What?
you
sunscreens
recommend
are,
it? Do you recommend a sunscreen in particular?
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
well, that's a whole other conversation. Me and
Yeah, that's probably
sunscreens,
a
you know
whole
about
other
that.
Okay.
time,
I
but
can, if you want me to go into my
Do you
sunscreen
sell one
collection.
on your website? Do you sell one?
Not really, but I can
Okay.
tell you about them because American sunscreens are not nearly as good as European sunscreens.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
that's because in the US, we don't have the same number of filters approved. In the US, sunscreens are considered drugs, and the FDA has to approve them. So we have very good sun filters against ultraviolet B, which are the sunburn rays. But we have only one approved chemical filter for ultraviolet A, which are the tanning rays, more or less. So if you go into a tanning booth, you're getting ultraviolet A. That's why you get tan. It penetrates deeper. Please say no, but if anybody on this call has ever been in a tanning booth, no. But if you
oh,
had, you go in there for
that's
like 30 minutes. If you went into an ultraviolet B booth for 30 minutes, you would go directly to the burn unit wherever you are. You'd have a most horrible full body burn. So you can sit in the sun when you put your sunscreen on, your Neutrogena, your whatever crapola you use. It's not shielding you well against ultraviolet A. You get good B protection, so you sit outside and you don't get a sunburn, but you're tan. That's because of the lack of UVA protection.
Well, it
When
depends how you put it on too, because you might only have like.
Right, that's true. But there's another, those are chemical sunscreens. So those are, the typical things you all know about. Then there's mineral sunscreens, which many people think are better than chemical sunscreens, and they're not. They're not. And they're not natural like people think. They are not. Zinc oxide is not a naturally occurring compound. When you think about zinc oxide, think about what the lifeguards used to wear. That, they put the white stuff on. That was non-nano zinc oxide, like Desitin for your baby's diaper. And if you put a full face of that on, you will definitely be protected from UV light, but nobody in the universe other than a lifeguard puts it on their nose. So they've made zinc oxide micronized. They break it into little tiny particles to try to make it more cosmetically acceptable. And it's not nearly as good as the real zinc oxide. And it doesn't give as much UVA or UVB protection, which is why people tan through mineral sunscreens also. The only real time that I recommend mineral sunscreens for people is if they are very, very sensitive, because there's fewer ingredients by and large in a mineral sunscreen than in a chemical sunscreen. And if you have sensitive skin or if you have allergies, sometimes a mineral product can be easier on your skin for some people. They're hard to spread. They're hard to remove. In the US, the chemical filters we have are lousy, and they don't feel as nice as the ones that are available in Europe. There's hope that in 2026, we're going to get one new UVA filter that's called Tynosorb S or Parsol Shield, and we're crossing our fingers that it's going to be around. And if it is in the middle of 2026, every company is going to rush to reformulate and have this in it, and Americans will be better protected.
What?
You can get these
you
sunscreens in
use?
Europe. You can get them in Europe.
Yeah.
Remember, I took you to buy them in Europe. We
Yeah,
were here, but I said,
Yeah.
Ellen says we got to buy them.
So what? So
Right.
you use one that comes from Europe? Yours
I
is
do. My favorite sunscreen on the market is called Anthelios UV Mune 400. It's made by La Roche-Posay. It's available in Europe and I think in Asia and in South America and in Mexico and in Canada, and it's not available here in the correct form. La Roche-Posay makes an American Anthelios that is not even a third cousin to their French product, but they put it in the same kind of box. So people are fooled and they think they're getting the right product. They're not. It used to be, until maybe 2 months ago, easy to go on a lot of websites and order UV Mune 400. Websites like Care to Beauty, like Cosmetis, COSMETIS, like French Pharmacy, like I'm trying to think of other ones. And you could order a Stylevana, STYLEVANA. These were websites that you could just order them from, and it was easy. But the tariffs have become stiff, so sometimes you order a package of 3 sunscreens and you get a $300 tariff. And some companies have stopped shipping to the U.S. So this happened in the last 2 months. So now,
that means we have to go to Paris on a trip.
correct. So, I go to Paris twice a year and I bring back a suitcase of it. And I say that all of you must know someone. You don't have to go to Paris. You can go to Italy. You can go to Spain. You can go to Switzerland. You can go to Latvia.
How about London?
Just tell your friends.
How about London?
Yeah, so you tell your friends,
pick up
anyone going there, don't bring me home chocolate.
I got to hook up there. Okay, good.
But if you can't go to Europe and you can't get it, is there anything close for people here?
There is nothing close in the United States. Nothing. But keep searching online if you want to splurge. You and all your friends go in for Christmas and you buy yourself 15 of them or something, and then you all divide up the tariff.
Okay.
It's hard to say. It seems like everyone knows someone who's in Canada, Mexico, St. Bart's, France, Spain, Italy, blah,
Mexico.
blah, blah.
All
You
right.
know someone who's going, and have them bring you back a few tubes. That's what I say. But then on your body, wear sun protective clothing. We're over 50. Who's looking at our bodies anyway? Get a shirt. When you play tennis, wear one of those sun protective shirts, and it's easier than smearing your arms with sunscreen and getting all over the place. That's what I do.
Can we talk about moisturizer for 1 second? For example, I know people range in from oily skin to skin like mine, which has always been very, very dry. So what do you like? Is that sort of last step that you put on your face, actually on your whole body? But
I honestly, I don't care. I really don't. Moisturizer. The moisturizer I like is the one that you like. So there are heavier ones. There are people think they need rich creams. They want light cream. You have to do trial and error. There's so many moisturizers that I like. There's all different price points. It's very hard. That's my least favorite question to be asked by a patient because I don't really. Is CeraVe fine?
sorry, I'm sorry.
No. But I'm just saying
I
honestly
would
because
not have thought
there
that.
are
Would not.
10,000
Yeah.
moisturizers.
Yeah.
And if you
And
have no
oils.
problems with your skin and you're using CeraVe, then I don't care. It's fine as long as your skin is moist. On the body, I like things that have lactic acid in them or glycolic acid. It tends to help with dry skin more. There are some very inexpensive products like amlactin is cheap. You get it in the drugstore. It's a little thick. Use something creamy that feels good. Go and buy 3 things and try it. Or if your friend tells you there's a company called Necessaire, which has a very nice product that has retinol in it, but it kind of smells a little. I wish I could just name 100 things for you. There's a company called Dieux, Dieux, that is it's a woman-owned company. It's a small company. They make lovely moisturizer, and they're not outrageously expensive, and you can get them online. There's another company that I like. I like supporting small companies. There's a company called Virgin Skin that all they make is a moisturizer, and it's a really nice product. It's a little more than the Dew. CeraVe is honestly fine. I wish I could give you other names, but they're just so endless.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up.
Oh, you
Yeah.
just going to ask about.
No, I think, Ellen, there's so many questions coming in. We could probably talk for like another hour, but we don't want to keep you. But maybe you would commit to coming back. We could do part 2 because I feel like there's just so much information here, and people are asking a million questions. Besides, also telling us how much they love you. So just to give you that shout
I mean,
out.
I'm happy to come. I'm happy to do it again. I feel like it's really important to get this kind of information out because I know we didn't talk about procedures and all kinds of other things.
Exactly.
But I have to say that for me, that there's surgery, and that there's a person who wants to do surgery, and then there's someone who doesn't. Doing surgery is not going to fix your wrinkles. It's not going to fix your brown spots. So lasers or peels, things like that can be helpful. But I won't do procedures on people who are not able to follow a regimen like this, because if you can't, you're never going to get the good result from this, and you're never going to maintain it. So get yourself into a routine. Before you train for the Olympics, you got to start somewhere. And if you go to someone and they tell you to do a procedure and they don't have you on a prep regimen, not the right person to do the procedure.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank
So we'll make another date, maybe after the holidays or something like that.
Sure.
I just want to remind everybody who's listening, we'll put Ellen's website in the notes, and I'm telling you, you're going to love these smart drops. They are really fantastic, and I feel like a little bit goes a long way.
It does.
It's really, your skin just feels. I ran out and I felt like I was like a little naked this morning.
I'll send you more tomorrow morning.
So the other thing is, just for everybody, if you came on halfway and you're like, oh my God, this is such great information, we will post this video in the Get in the Groove feed, Alyssa Goodman's feed. Ellen may post it in her feed, so you can take your time, you can watch it, you can take your own notes and sort of, take away what you want from it. So don't feel panicked that you missed something. We've captured all this fabulous
I
information.
talk fast.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
well, I know,
You're
and
great.
we're all like, oh yeah, 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 yeah,
We
yeah.
have 20 million questions that we
Yeah,
can ask, but
yeah,
I don't
it's
see
true.
any of them, so
Oh,
I would have addressed them, but I don't see any of the questions. I don't know why. Usually I would, but
yeah. Well, and this is pretty exciting. This is not necessarily late too, but in a couple of weeks we're gonna have another guest. It's what's
sex with Emily.
sex with that. So we'll be talking about after you get rid of after you
Yes.
figure out your skincare routine,
And somebody actually wants you.
and somebody wants you, how you gonna
Yeah, yeah, better sex.
as long as you don't use anything smelly, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Thank you.
Anyway,
Ellen.
Thanks so
Yeah.
much.
thank you so much. We
Nice
really
to see you.
appreciate
Nice
it.
to meet you. And
Bye.
good to
All
see
right.
you. Susie.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.